We are live. So if you guys could see and hear me, very, very excited day today. We are here live on Facebook with the extraordinary Glenn Sanford, CEO of eXp Realty. And we're just going to give it a minute here just to allow everybody to tune in and, get situated, grab a warm cup of coffee like Mr. Glenn already has. And, your guys are going to be.
I got green tea going
Oh,
here.
green tea. Okay.
Green tea.
I got my coffee then. my
There
coffee,
you go.
my coffee is the bomb, TNT. You're right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. So it looks like the feed is coming. I'm just going to go ahead and share it in a couple of my groups really quickly here, just so everybody could tune into this. And we'll go ahead and get started here with questions and all of that good stuff. So let me just
Is
drop
this on
it.
your live page? I'll go ahead and share it with mine too.
Yeah, if you can, please. That'll be fantastic. It is on my page currently. That way we can get maximum exposure there and we get everybody an opportunity to see this interview. Let's see there. I'm dropping it into the chat. We are live. We are live. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. It looks like I think we got a couple of people already tuning in, and this is going to be recorded, obviously. But yeah, let me go ahead and get started up here. Welcome everybody that is tuning in to this Facebook Live. Very, very special day today. I'm very, very excited, very grateful. Thank you so much, Glenn, for tuning in and making the time to really, share your wisdom. And I really wanted to create this space to not only understand a little bit of your background and your story, but just to really have an understanding like what you forecast, what do you foresee here for the future. So once again, man, one of the things that I admire about you the most, which I think I've told you before, is your humility, your energy, and how accessible you are to all of us at eXp. I am tremendously grateful for the change that you've made in my life. And I'm pretty sure that 88,000 plus people could say the same thing. So welcome to this Facebook Live, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, thanks, Leo. Thanks for setting this up, and glad to be here. It's 2023, the new year. We're we got it cranking away. I think was the 16th day of the or 17th day
17th.
of the years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's my 17th, 16th, 15th, 14th day back on the CEO job. So 14 days on back in the original seat I was on when we started eXp.
Absolutely, man. You're rolling up the sleeves. Getting ready for a great year.
I'm putting the sports coat on, the blue blazer.
There we go. The classic, the classical sports jacket. So love that, man. So take us back a little bit. Take us back. eXp has completely changed the industry, and you were way ahead. I think myself innovative, but you were, 2009 when you created this model. If you can kind of take us back when you initiated this company, and I think that'll be a good place to start.
Yeah. So you remember 2008. You've been in the business a little while, right,
Yep.
Leo?
Yeah, 2000. Yeah, started in 2005. Yeah, so I went through that.
Okay.
An interesting time.
You went through that. Yeah. So I got licensed in 2002. Started on a team, and then in 2004 started a team, and went to Keller Williams like many people do. At the time, it was the best model that existed in the industry. So, that made sense for me to move my license there. Love the idea that it was an agent-oriented company, and the profit share system. When I first saw it, made a ton of sense. So I said, hey, I'm good at internet lead gen. I'm growing my real estate teams. I decided not to just start one team. I started 6 different real estate teams around the country between 2004 and 2007. And by 2006, I think I was in the top 50 nationally with Keller. So whatever the awards were, like triple platinum or something like that, was kind of the thing that I had hit. And then 2007, got a little disillusioned with the profit share model because I saw that as my long-term retirement strategy. And with I think 184 people in my profit share group, I ended up getting a whopping $6,000 for that. And I'm like, man, this is this is a tough road to hoe. I'd have to get like, 18, 20, 30,000 people just to make it be, a reasonable amount of income. And so I ended up leaving, going independent, started a team-based brokerage, and 2007 had a great year. And 2008, we were on track to break $100 million in production, back when that was a really big number.
Wow. Yeah.
And then the market turned. Hard in September, October of 2008. And I had 4 physical offices. I still had a couple teams that were in Keller, but most of it was sort of running in my team-based brokerage at that point. And we quickly pivoted and shut down 3 of the offices, went to a skeleton crew on the 4th. And we, in late 2008, early 2009, we started to think about, okay, what do we want to do now that the market is in really sad shape? And one of the things I've always played with the whole concept, what's the phrase, fool me once, shame on you. And fool me twice, shame on me. So the fool me once was the economy shifting. And I was like, okay, you fooled me. And, and of course I wanted to externalize this, the economy's fault, even though it's always our fault, right?
Yeah. Taking full responsibility.
Taking full responsibility. But the second part was, how do we make sure that we don't go through this again? If we're going to stay in this business, we want to run a brokerage that's effectively profitable in good times and bad times. And the single biggest cost of running a real estate brokerage is physical bricks and mortar, followed closely by the staffing costs. And for us, we said, how do we get rid of the bricks and mortar? And at that time, high-speed internet was now pretty ubiquitous, cable internet pretty much in every home in America at that point in time. And it seemed to me that it was a good time to build the real estate brokerage of the future that everybody had been talking about for the last 7 years that I've been in the business. Everybody talked about the fact that it's all be mobile agents. People were going to be able to work from anywhere. You wouldn't need to go to the office, paperless transactions, digital signing, all that stuff. Everybody was talking about that stuff, but nobody had actually done it. And so I said, well, why don't we do that? That's what everybody's been talking about. Why don't we do it? And then the next part was, if we do it, what's the financial model need to be in order to be attractive to agents? And I thought about the idea that it needed to be a brokerage that, if it existed, I would be there building my business at that brokerage. So the value prop had to be that good. And there was no company around that had anything remotely like what we were thinking about at the time. And so we started to look at the backdrop and said, okay, well, we could go 100%. That would be the natural. If you have no offices, go to 100%, because just make it super cheap. But then the second part was, well, if it's super cheap, how do you hire leadership to grow your brokerage? And because there's not enough money for leadership. So we figured, well, 100% doesn't make sense. Then where does it need to be, and what would it be to sort of almost self-develop leadership inside of the brokerage? Because you got 2 ways to grow a brokerage. One, you can hire W-2 employees, which is what almost everybody does. Like
like
salary-based staff,
or kind of like the Redfin model.
Well, no, I'm thinking more on the realm of team leaders and sales managers. and all of that. And that's a pretty expensive way to grow a brokerage, because you're in it whether they're successful or not. Meaning you're paying them whether they do a good job or not, and your only choice is to then replace those people. And so it's like, man, I don't really want to go that route. And so how do we then think about, how can we sort of shift that to the 1099 real estate agent perspective? And I just go, man, I used to run around the country recruiting agents for Keller Williams. I was doing that, and I wasn't really getting paid for it. And I'd bring everybody in anytime they sat down with a KW team leader. I basically said, they're going to give you a pitch, but just listen to their pitch and then sign the independent contract agreement, and then we'll go. And that was kind of my thing. Like, just, you're going to have to go through their thing, because that's what they do. They're like scorpions; they sting things. So go talk to the team leader, and then once they're done, we'll figure out a way to kind of bring you on the team, and then we'll grow stuff. So So that was kind of the thing. And so I said, that's what I want to build, is a platform for people like me. And so that's what we did. We said, okay, what would it need to be? And I was looking at a company at the time. I was asked to be the CEO of a company called Connect Realty. I think they're still around, kind of a shell of their former self. But but I literally looked at they had a sort of a 5-5-5 plan. And so you got 5% of your first level, got 5% of your second level if you recruited 5 or more, and got 5% of your third level if you recruited 10 or more. And they were an 80-20 split. And I was like, this thing doesn't pay deep enough. Because I, as a leader, just on my real estate team, I had people that are already in my 5th or 6th level if I was to honor their levels. And so for me, I'm like, it's got to go deeper. And then I laid out all the models that existed: Connect, Keller, Exit. There was a company, Next Stage. There was a couple others that were sort of that came up and got a little flash in the pan, then sort of died out. But I looked at every single model and said, we got to win on every single model. And so we did. We laid them all out, and we came up with a model that literally is what we have today. And then we just started pitching it. We're 25 agents. Most of the agents that were with us didn't pitch the model. There was myself, Brian Culhane. There might have been a couple others that pitched the model a little bit, but eventually we started to grow, and then it started to get some legs, even though it was a tough haul because we're introducing a brand new business model to the marketplace.
Yes,
it's not like some of the newcomers. Like we've already plowed that ground, so for them, they get to sort of take advantage of everything that we built before and go, oh yeah, just we're like the new EXP. It's like, yeah, well, you're not, because we actually paid the price.
Yeah, 13 years.
This space.
Absolutely.
But it's been it's been a blessing. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm excited to be back in the CEO seat. Making the pitches again, talking about the value prop, talking about why we think that the way that we're approaching it is the most agent-centric approach to it. And we're growing, not just in the U.S., in Canada, but we're growing internationally. We're taking this model around the world and literally changing lives of agents. So for me, it's a lot of fun. It's, economy shifted a bit, and with that, slower growth because we got people like exiting the industry, et cetera. But with that, comes a point where, and I can make an impact, and I can start to measure that impact. When we're growing like crazy, it's hard to measure the impact, which is why I sort of step back a bit. It's like, hey, team, you guys got it.
Yeah.
Now it's slowing down. It's like, okay, I want to go in there. I want to shoot some shots on goal. That's what I want to do.
I love that, man. I love your attitude and your leadership and how you approach everything and the changing market and and intuitive, right? And you're seeing everything and you're basically plugging back in. And I would say a question, what do you attribute the success of VXP to, and also talk about where we're at? Obviously, you started off with 25 in 2009, 25 agents. Where we're at with agent count now, and what do you attribute the success of VXP to?
Yeah, I think our last published agent count is 86,000 and change. So I think that's where we've been there for about a month or so, and part of that's because there's a lot of attrition. It's a slow time of year. A lot of people actually are getting out of the business, even on the EXP rosters, or they're leaving the business entirely because they didn't put a lot of deals up last year, and they're going, man, it's just be tough. So instead, they're just hanging up their license, et cetera. But we're about 86,000 agents. But we're I think once we get into the selling season again, and once we get over the hump, I think we then start to see the growth kick back in.
Yep, absolutely. And with the agent count, obviously with the changes that are happening in the marketplace, like what do you think are going to be the key things that you're going to be focusing on as we move forward into 2023 and beyond?
Yeah, well, a couple things. One, I want to go back to our roots. One of the things that I noticed, and I think it's just the nature of the beast, and this is why it's so cool to be running from a founder-led position in the company. But as I stepped out, I think we started to think more like a more traditional corporation, than more of a founder-led organization. And obviously, I didn't go anywhere, but I think that just naturally people will do things for the right reasons. They're measuring the financial impact of a decision. They don't have as much control over growth, so they start to make financial decisions around, oh, if we charge this, or we do this, or we do that, or cut there, they're making sort of the financial pieces. And I think when you focus on those things, which are necessary from time to time, so don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they're not necessary from time to time, but if that becomes your full focus as an organization, it loses why it exists. There's two different ways to look at companies. There's a guy named Milton Friedman. If you want to look these guys up later and just sort of understand the difference in their philosophy, there's Milton Friedman, and then there's Peter Drucker. Two total icon, effectively badasses. It's kind of like a really strong right-wing Republican versus a really left-wing Democrat. So just sort of use those as two pieces. And I'm not making a value judgment on either one, because they both have their place. But Milton Friedman basically said that a corporation is made to serve the needs of the shareholders. And Peter Drucker, on the other hand, said that the only reason a company exists is to generate a new customer. And so if you think about it, if you're customer focused, all about generating new customers, in our case, agents, it's a totally different thought process than if you're focused on shareholders and shareholder return.
That's right.
Because shareholder return tends to be short term, and I'll just make a case in point that most companies are sort of they're measured on their P&L. What's your P&L? What's the language of business is revenues and versus expenses, right? That's what everybody says. But the problem is they lose out on the whole idea of a company is to actually generate a consumer. It's to generate, and if you generate enough consumers, in our case, enough agents, shareholders get taken care of by default.
Yes.
So meaning that they win because our revenues go up. Yeah, maybe we don't make as much per agent as we would in the other model, but we got way more agents. It's like the Amazon principle. Amazon for years and years and years ran without making a profit. They were all about growing market share.
Yep.
And for me, that's where my focus is. It's all about growing market share. Yeah, at some point, there'll be little financial tweaks here and there. There just will, either because of the economy, because the cost of labor goes up, the cost of technology goes up, or some reason why we need to do it. But if we focus on doing right by our agents, we can't help but grow. And so for me, one of my big pieces is to make sure that we are truly agent-centric. I've now actually asked a number of the management team to read 2 books. So that I've actually reached out to multiple management team members. And the 2 books are The Leader's Guide to Radical Management, and the other one is The Ultimate Question 2.0. And if you read those books, and you understand that that's the lens that I filter all decision making through, all of a sudden decision making gets way easier, because you understand that it's all about creating promoters inside the business to actually grow the business.
I love that. I love that, man. And I love that you said that, because that's always been a methodology that I've used in my business, is building it with relationships, bringing it with value. And sometimes even, just speaking on the real estate perspective, sometimes even telling clients, like, what, it's not going to make sense for you to sell your property right now, even though I'm not going to make a commission, right? It should, you should wait a little bit longer. We should maybe refinance this one, maybe help you to buy another property. But customer focused, in my perspective, and like your perspective, obviously, because it's definitely working, definitely, it's gonna help to expand. And I think that the things that we compare it to, a lot of the times, that a lot of people that come into the business, and I think that's what we're seeing right now. A lot of people are moving out of the business because they weren't customer focused. They were check focused, right? Like, let me make some money, let me see how much money I can make, and like you said, that's a very short term type of strategy, where it's not building something that's revolutionary, something that where you create raving fans. And thank you for sharing these 2 book recommendations, by the way. I mean, I just wrote this down. I really truly appreciate that, because I think that that's where we all need to be, right? You're from a leadership standpoint, and as a real estate agent standpoint, we need to focus on that, making the customers first above anything else.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's the interesting thing is if you look at any company that has grown to any substantial size, most of them were truly founder led. They were creating new products or services in the industry, and they revolutionized the industry not by focusing on the P&L first. They focused on actually creating products and services that consumers loved and would tell their friends about. And so for me, I want to make sure that we're delivering that. Like, it's not that we haven't been delivering that, because obviously we have.
Yep.
But I want to actually even deliver it better than we've delivered it, in the past few years. I'd like to really change the game in such a way that it really goes back to the phrase that we came up with in 2016, which is we want the value proposition of eXp Realty to be so good it'd be irresponsible to hang your license anywhere else.
Yes.
And we did that. It was actually a phrase that when I read it the first time, and it was Jeff Bezos' letter to shareholders in 2016. And it was, they wanted the value proposition of Amazon Prime to be so good that it'd be irresponsible for somebody not to have an Amazon Prime membership. And I'll just ask you this, Leo. I know you're with eXp, but do you have an Amazon Prime membership?
I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, totally.
See, totally. So that's the mentality.
My mom loves it.
And
my mom loves Amazon Prime. I always see her. We always see her orders, and she's always has shipments dropping off, all of that stuff. I mean, it's that's amazing. That is truly amazing. And I actually have used that in many conversations when I'm talking to individuals, because I truly believe that, right? I mean, as an agent in your company, I have felt that like every single day that I'm out there. I truly believe that this is the place to be for a real estate agent, and it is financially responsible with all of the amazing benefits that we get. But even the benefits, what I always tell everybody, which is my favorite about this company, is the culture that you've created, because you're leading from that perspective, and that trickles down to everyone else in leadership, and then that trickles down to everyone on your staff. Even when I go speak with somebody in onboarding, everybody has that same attitude, that same mindset. So I absolutely love that, man. You've done a tremendous job at that. So thank you for creating that kind of space.
Well, I'd even go so far to say, if you're a real estate agent and you have an Amazon Prime membership, you have to be at eXp Realty.
Mic drop. There we go. Yes. So you guys heard that. If you guys have an Amazon Prime membership, you guys got to be with eXp. Let's go. Absolutely. What do you think, as far we're moving in obviously into a shifting market, and what are things that we are doing, that you're doing to, obviously you're back in the CEO role. What are initiatives that you're excited about? What do you foresee for the future? What are the main focuses as we move forward?
Yeah, well, a couple things. Like I want to make sure that we make the right decisions for the right reasons. I mean, with the slower market, we've had to cut back some staffing and some other things. One, we don't have the transaction workflow, with real estate transactions down. So we're kind of overstaffed a little bit. So we've been cutting back. And when I say overstaffed, I mean, we're talking, hundreds of people that we've had to, unfortunately, reduce staffing on. But I also want to make sure that we don't release the wrong people for the wrong reasons, like not just cut expenses for cutting expenses sake, but because I want to also invest in where we need to invest. And so that's the other piece. I want to make sure that we're investing in the right things so that we continue to build market share, domestically and internationally. Those are things that these things that we're doing, this Facebook Live. I mean, obviously I've done a few of them since I got back in the saddle here a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago. And for me, this is something I want to do a lot of, because one of the things, I think there's a lot of people who want to learn about eXp Realty, but they actually don't want to actually go and talk directly to another agent. about eXp Realty because, you know, it's like anything else. Once you express interest, your phone might just be ringing off the hook, and you might be sort of inundated with a whole bunch of
Yes.
you know follow up, and you might not be ready for that. But
Yeah.
I think the idea is that you know, by doing these videos more regularly, you know, sharing what the mission, vision, values of the company is, why it's super agent centric, why we're continuing to attract the biggest and the brightest and the best agents in the industry to EXP, you'll start to understand why we exist. And it really, I mean, literally, we're the first company in the history of real estate that truly can get you off the hamster wheel of real estate if you take advantage of the systems and tools and the people that are involved in the company. Now, there's other ways to do it. You go start your own brokerage. There's no doubt about it. There's people have been successful and they've done that and they come up with their brand, and that there's a lot of work in that. I call it brain damage, but you kind of do the same. You can get the same benefits inside of EXP without all the brain damage.
Yes.
And you know, our brand is, you know, it's now a recognized brand. You know, when we started in 2009, it's like, EXP, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know,
What is
like,
this?
You know,
Yeah.
yeah. Why? I need an office. You know, you guys are, you know, there are all kinds of stuff. Now we've got we're the single largest real estate brokers by both agent count and geography. We've got a national website that is just phenomenal. We've got an announcement coming out next week, which is just going to be crazy cool. I don't know if you've gotten into it yet, but but it's to do with the fact that we basically have a national portal, you know, in EXP Realty that, you know, nobody else has, and we've got this anyway. Leo Perea and the Showcase IDX team, they came up with an idea that literally is just the bomb. So I'm super excited about that. And if you're anywhere else, you're not going to be able to take advantage of it. So just letting you guys know.
A teaser right here. Teaser alert.
Yeah, we've got another announcement we're going to do. I think on Tuesday morning is we're going to do, which is really, really cool. And of course, we're growing out Zoocasa. So I'm all about the real estate portal and all the innovations and things that we can do with a nationwide portal platform. And we've invested, I don't know how many, you know, it's been, I don't know, we've got $15-20 million in our overall portal strategies since we kind of started to put those into place. And now we're actually finally at the point where a bunch of that investment is actually going to turn into super uber cool innovations that are just, I mean, literally going to rock the industry.
Wow.
They're going to, it'll be so tough to do in any other brokerage or brand because we, as one company, we actually are able to leverage the MLS in a single portal. The franchisors can't do it, and the individual franchisees can only do it inside of the markets that they actually have membership in. And, you know, so that might be a small regional market or something like that. But we've got some really cool stuff that the economies of scale are going to kick in.
Oh my God.
And excited about, you know, what that's going to be.
That is amazing. That's exciting. Yeah, 50 states, 24 countries now that we're in, right? And that's going to be revolutionary. And I've heard some news about that, so I'm really excited about hearing all about that, the innovation that's going to be coming forward. Just because it's going to be a game changer, just like everything that you do. And you said something briefly about independent brokers, because I know there's a lot of independent brokerages out there, you know, and especially with the shifting market. If you could just share from your perspective some of the key points of why an independent broker that is running maybe a small shop or several small shops, why they should consider our platform of EXP.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure. So, I mean, one of the big ones is, you know, in a shifting market, we'll call it a shifting market. We're really in a housing recession, is what we're in, because of the Fed raising interest rates. Your bricks and mortar are basically bearing your P&L, and not to say that you should be P&L oriented, but you have to stay in business. So if you think about it, you know, if you've got to figure out a way to stay in business in a down market. And with lack of any other differentiator, and this is what I used to refer to bricks and mortar as kind of the nuclear arms race of residential real estate, which meant that if you're a brokerage in your town, whatever town that you operate in, and somebody puts in new conference rooms and presentation rooms and flat screens and that type of thing, and offering up private offices, then your agents that quote unquote need an office, assuming that all the fees and everything else are equal, they're going to pack up their stuff and they're going to go to the other office, unless you do exactly the same thing. And then you have to add some extra bells and whistles to that so you can stand out among all the other brokerages. And so you're kind of in this really tough spot. Now, you as an individual broker owner, through your how you lead with your agents and how you help them and how you support them, that can be a differentiator as well. And certainly that can overcome some of those hurdles. But the bricks and mortar, the single biggest cost, you really, the cost of it is going to be fairly similar in your market for all the different players. And so everybody's sort of competing for how do we get more agents at our brokerage. So once you sort of think about the idea of letting go of the bricks and mortar and saying, hey, what if they all move to the cloud? Yes, sure, I might lose some agents, but maybe you won't. If you're a great leader and you actually lead them from the front and you say, here's where we're going and why. Because one, you're going to have a great split, or an 80-20 split. You got a $16,000 cap. If you attract other agents to EXP, you're going to get some revenue for doing that. I unfortunately didn't have the profit margin in my current brokerage to be able to do that for you. And so, so we didn't offer a revenue sharing program. In addition, you're going to earn some equity in the brokerage just from doing the natural things that you already do. So, first transaction, capping, attracting another agent who sells some real estate. Those are things that you can automatically do. If you're a top agent, if you're in that top 1, 2, 3% of agents in the industry, you can actually qualify for an Icon Award and actually get your cap back in the form of equity. So you're basically at the brokerage for free. And then last but not least, we were part of whatever XYZ franchise. Remember, they used to take 6% of your commissions before I even did my 70-30 split with you. Remember that? Well, with EXP, there's no franchise fee. However, if you choose to, you can take 5% of your commissions, and instead of it going out to a franchise fee, which, by the way, you guys didn't really, you probably complained a little bit, but you didn't really complain about it. Why not put it into buying equity and getting that at a discount to market? And you can do that on every single transaction you do at the brokerage. So you can actually build up equity in the brokerage by just doing more and more transactions. So you can build up a nest egg, a rainy day fund, what have you. So these are all things that I couldn't offer as an independent broker owner. And by tapping into EXP, we can bring over our whole brokerage. We can carry over some of our branding over to it. So some of you really like the brand. We can actually form a self-organized team or a team and actually use that branding, so consumers won't lose touch with who we are in the marketplace. And then literally you're going to be able to make more at EXP over time because you're actually now a business owner in the business, able to expand your mini brokerage from the day you join. And these are just things I couldn't offer as a small independent broker owner.
Yeah, there's just no way. I mean, if I go back to prior, I've been here at EXP for 4 years. If I go back to the decision I made 4 years ago, my only other option was to go independent myself. And I just started thinking about it. When I looked at the model and looked at all the benefits, I'm like, I would have been, very successful locally in my own market, but my vision has always been global. And, just because of the nature of your model, the gift of the model that you've built, I'm now in 27 states and 7 countries because of the model that you've built. And I would have never been able to do that as a small shop. So kudos to you for creating such a brilliant model.
Well, and then the other thing, and I said, let's not make it about the P&L, but at the end of the day, would you have even made as much as you're making with EXP?
Not at all. Yeah, not at all. And I am glad to say I'm out of the hamster wheel. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
I am literally out of the hamster wheel, right? That was one of the things that, 17 years into the business, I've always focused on where can I create more time, more freedom, and a new awareness that, and a gift that I got was even location freedom. I don't need to be locked into a certain place for me to operate my business, which was something I wasn't even aware of before I even partnered up with EXP, which has been such a gift, the location freedom aspect of it as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, one of my favorite definitions of financial freedom is when your passive income, exceeds your expenses, your monthly expenses, your monthly passive income. And then the second definition is that you work because you want to, not because you have to. And
Yes.
so you've covered both of those off in spades. That your passive income, hopefully, I mean, unless you got really big expenses, but
No.
your monthly
No, no,
income
no. Yeah, I
is
covered
certainly.
it. I covered all my stuff a year and a half into it, everything. So it's been completely life changing, And for many, many of my agent partners as well that are out there, bringing massive value to the real estate community. So one last question, because I know we're kind of coming close to a close here. One last question for the real estate agent that's listening in right now. What are the key things that they need to focus on? Because they may, again, right, because of the media, because of the narrative that's being created, a lot of people are scared, right? They're saying what's going to happen with the market is this and that. What a piece of advice can you give to the realtor right now that's boots on the ground? What should they be doing?
Yeah, prospect more, and whatever that prospecting is, you're going to just need to do more of it. Whatever you were successful with before, you're going to need to do more of that. Normally, that means that you're going to have to talk to 3 to 4 times as many people in order to find that one person who's looking to transact on the real estate side. Do things that are uncomfortable. Like if it means, knocking on doors, it's a lost art. But if you learn to do that, you do what you fear most, go knock on doors, meet people in the local neighborhood, find out what's important to them, be an ambassador and a service-oriented person to your community. You can't help but win over time. So do things like this, do videos, do what have you. So I think the prospecting side's key.
Mm-hmm.
The other is hone your value proposition such that it actually differentiates you from the rest of the marketplace. When I was an active agent, I ran a buyer-based team in real estate. Everybody said it couldn't be done. I did it. It worked phenomenally well. But we actually did virtual tours for buyers. That was what differentiated us in the marketplace, and everybody knew it. And we had websites and this and that and whatever, just to sort of back up that whole value prop, and allowed us to be kind of really ambassadors communities for. Only 7% of people that moved to our market were coming from out of area, but we dominated that 7%. So we came from out of area. They were generally working with us, and so figure out what is it that you can create as a true, unique selling proposition for you, and make sure that your consumers, not that you're the most sincere, the most trustworthy, or this or that. Everybody's that. That's if you're not trustworthy, you should get out of the business, right?
Yes,
if you're not sincere,
exactly.
you should get out of the business.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not like I'm going to be real service oriented. Identify those core pieces of service that you deliver on every single time, and brand those core service elements. And if you brand those core service elements, and whatever it is, I mean, maybe you're really great at the home staging side and the listing side. Make sure that consumers know that when they list with you, they're going to get your home staging services as part of the package. That differentiates you, because they might be thinking, how do I stage my home? If you're a home stager, you use that. If you're if you're a handyman contractor type, then maybe it's a free pre-inspection. It could be something. I'll come pre-inspect your home just to let you know what may need to get fixed, or what might show up on the inspection when a buyer goes to buy your home. If you come with more of a financial background, if you've got a financial degree, highlight that in your marketing, so that you truly, I don't just guess at the value of your home. I actually do the work of an appraiser to find out the value of your home. I'm not an appraiser, I'm a real estate professional, but I'm going to give you real data and not guess at what the value of your home is. So figure out what that core piece of differentiation is, and push on it and lean on it, because in the absence of anything different, in the absence of everybody saying, hey, I'm sincere, I'm hardworking, I'm trustworthy, I'll go the extra mile, all that stuff. You need something that the consumer goes, oh yeah, that person actually, talked about the fact that he went and did an appraisal course as part of becoming an expert in valuing properties. Why don't we call him in to find out what our house is worth? So,
Wow.
So just think about, how do you differentiate, and then how do you let your marketplace know?
I love that. I love that. That's excellent piece of advice, man. Thank you so much for your time, man. And I just wanted to say from my perspective, and everyone at EXP, speaking for everybody a little bit, but we're extremely grateful for you, extremely grateful for your leadership, and extremely grateful for the company that you've built for all of us. And it's a true honor to be in business with you. And I'm so excited for what's to come. And I know you gave us some teasers of the stuff that's coming up, which you haven't shared, but I'm going to be tuning in. And for everybody that's listening in, tune in for the updates that are coming. There's a lot of really great things. And thank you for the listeners. This is on recording on demand as well. And Glenn, any last words, anything else you want to say before we conclude?
No, like I said, if you got an Amazon Prime membership, you need to be at EXP.
I love that. Yeah, you guys heard it. You guys heard it here. Thank you so much, Glenn. Appreciate you, brother. All right.
Awesome.
All right.
Chat soon.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Cool.